Hi there everyone, Coach Alexa here. It's been a bit chilly recently, although weirdly milder today. But over the last 2-3 weeks, we've had some, I guess, quite suddenly arriving colder weather. And much in the way that I did a video earlier this year about the more suddenly arriving warmer weather, suddenly arriving colder weather, can also take us a little bit of time to adapt to. So I thought I'd talk through a couple of the key things that mean that cold weather will impact our training a little bit. I've talked in previous videos about, clothing and what we can do to help ourselves and the differences between men and women when it comes to dressing and running for the cold. But we'll talk a little bit today about the mechanisms as to why the cold impacts our running. And the first one, probably the more obvious one, is temperature. So the British cycling team did a lot of research over the last kind of 5-10 years or so about the impact of muscle temperature on muscle performance. So track cycling, where you have to deploy kind of maximum power right from the get-go out of your muscles, they had their riders in the warm-up area in the centre of the velodrome wearing heated tights to make sure that those muscles were up to the perfect operating temperature right before the race, kind of like tyre warmers for Formula One cars. Heated leggings sound awesome, by the way, whenever I can get myself a pair of those. So that is the impact that temperature has on our muscles. So if you're going out for a long run, we're not really using a lot of power in our muscles. It's much more endurance based. And we're also not kind of using a high percentage of our muscle fibres. So you might not notice too much of a difference. If you're doing speed work, however, you are likely to notice a little bit more of a difference when your muscles are not as warm. So what can we do about this? Warming up a little bit longer. So there's the clothing side of things, which I've touched on in previous videos, but definitely spending a little bit longer on the warm up. So maybe just taking more time over it, or adding in different paces of running, some strides, some little accelerations, or maybe some running drills, just to make sure those muscles really are properly up to operating temperature, particularly before you go into a faster run. There's no point starting the main body of a speed session when you're still feeling cold. The other side of things that people might not think about as much is the impact on the way our lungs function. So I've had a few runners in that cold snap that we had recently that have talked about, just feeling a little bit flat, particularly when they're running faster. And that is because our lungs really like fairly humid and warm air. It's the most efficient type of air for our lungs to do the gas exchange, basically. So sucking in oxygen from the air across the sort of membranes of our lungs into our bloodstream, and the carbon dioxide going the other way from the bloodstream out into the air we're going to exhale. And that happens more efficiently when the air that's in our lungs is A, warm, and B, quite humid, so got quite a high moisture content to it. When we are running in colder weather, obviously the air is a lot colder, but cold air also can't hold as much moisture, so it is also drier. So our bodies have to work harder to try and humidify and warm up that air. And they don't manage that. You'll often feel you're kind of breathing that colder air into your lungs. You can feel that temperature difference, and your body is not going to be working as efficiently to bring oxygen into your body and expel carbon dioxide out of your body at those colder temperatures, purely because of the low humidity and temperature of the air that's coming in and out. Not a lot we can do about that, really. Perhaps, if you've got access to a treadmill and it's in a warmer environment, maybe. But, there are pros and cons to treadmill use and in different enjoyment levels as well. In some very, very, very cold countries where temperatures get well into sort of minus 20 degrees Celsius and below, there are some technologies where you have kind of like a face mask, but it's got metal wool in it, so it captures some of the heat as you breathe out, and some of the moisture gets trapped in that metal wool, and then as you breathe it in, it warms and rehumidifies that cold air. I think, do we really need that for the temperatures that we have in the UK? No. But it's worth just bearing in mind if you feel like you're just feeling a little bit flat when you're trying to run a little bit faster, or maybe doing a speed session. Those are a couple of the reasons why. I hope that's helpful.